Today, we're going to dive into emotional intelligence. Why emotional intelligence? Because technical skills are no longer, and they really never have been, but we've made a big deal about how important technical skills are. Are you a good attorney? Are you a good doctor? Are you a good nurse? Do you have your credentials? Most of our resumes, we spend 80% at the very top explaining our technical skills, which is great. We all need to. We all have to have the pedigree, and we have to show our pedigree. We have to show our value. We have to show our experience. So without a doubt, technical skills are part of it, but we have emphasized so much of it. Then down at the bottom, at the last part of the resume, we'll say things like additional things like I'm a good team member, I have great communication skills, and they happen to be just an afterthought. At least we treat it that way, but yet we don't realize that most of us get fired, or we cause our careers to be put on hold, or we get demoted, or we get moved around because of those things at the bottom of the resume. So we get hired because of our technical skills, but we get fired because of the stuff at the bottom. I went to my nephew's graduation ceremony at LSU, and an Army general, I believe he was in the Navy, he was speaking very highly about the importance of being sharp at work, and of course, really good application. And towards the end of his talk, he reminded everybody of this fact. He said, look, you have not wasted your money. All of you have done a fantastic job getting your technical degrees, but remember, your life is dictated by how you build relationships and the stuff at the bottom of your resume. And then he's the one that said it out loud the first time I'd ever heard it. So emotional intelligence is the ability to balance that, okay? It's to where we can build relationships, show that we have the ability to be fluid, to work well with others, especially with those who disagree with us and in tough situations. So what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage both your emotions and understand the emotions of people around you. And so emotional intelligence says better understand your emotions, and through that journey and that self-realization, it's called self-awareness, through that realization, then you can better understand the emotions of others. All right, so there's 5 components: self-awareness, emotional control, motivation, empathy, and social skills. We're going to cover empathy first and then backtrack our way to self-awareness. All right, there's a reason for it. I think these are the most practical ones. Everything else are based on whether we can become empathetic, and then how do we become self-aware. Once we can establish a little basis for that, then it's a whole lot easier to jump into the skills on how to make this practical. Let's tackle the first one. All right, what is empathy? All right, empathy is the ability to understand another person's thoughts and feelings in a situation from their point of view rather than from our point of view. All right, so obviously the most difficult part of that statement is right there, what I have underlined. It's from their point of view rather than your own. I mean, it's easy for me to get excited about what I agree with, but whenever you start saying things that you don't agree with, well, then I'm going to react in a different way. Or whenever somebody is saying something that I just don't think that it's going to go anywhere, then I'm going to react a certain way. All right, so the ability to have good emotional intelligence has to do with empathy. And empathy requires for me to think about what the other person is saying, what the other person is opinionating, and being able to interact in such a way to where I don't react in a negative way. All right, so let me give you some examples. All right, here's a picture of 2 individuals who are looking at the same number, but they're viewing it from a different angle. Why? Because it's the number 9. Well, see, for those of you that are watching this, if you're only hearing this through audio podcast, it's the number 9. But of course, one person is standing on the side where it's 9, and the other person is where they're standing on the side where it says 6. So is it a 6 or is it a 9? All right, so they're both correct, but they're viewing it from their own perspective. And therein lies the basis of empathy. It's recognizing that most of the time, the person is seeing the issue from a perspective where I'm not standing, so therefore it makes no sense to me. And we have to be able to recognize that. But what we do is we quickly jump to the opinion that we see from our perspective only, and we put up walls extremely fast without taking the first step of seeking to understand that the other person is actually viewing it from from a different perspective. And if I were to go over there and take a look at it from their perspective, I'd say, you know what? I see your point. Okay. I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It doesn't mean that I agree with what you're saying. And see, that's a lot of the challenge, because when we ask each other, do you understand what I mean? What we tend to think is that the person is asking us, well, do you agree? So we tend to not say, yes, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree. What we tend to say is, well, I don't agree, because we don't want to kind of give in to the fact that I understand what you're saying, because we have a hard time. I'm not just going to call it's ego. Okay. All of us have ego. Some of us more than others, some of us hide it better than others, but we have a really hard time recognizing that the other person is probably viewing it from a different angle. So empathy is the first act of recognizing that things can be viewed a little different. Let me give you another example. Okay, here's one of a wall. Obviously, it's a brick wall. So I use this a lot in my workshops. I ask everybody, what else do you guys see? And some people say, oh, there's a mouse, or there's a rock. And then eventually somebody says, oh, there's a cigar. Okay. And everybody's going, cigar? There's no cigar there. And of course, half the crowd starts going, yeah, there it is. It's right there. You know, of course, I tell them, you can't tell us what row it's at. And then everybody's trying to look at it and go, there's no cigar. And the comments are hilarious. Yeah, what's wrong with you, man? It's right there. And so the feeling is a sense I don't see it. I just don't see it. But yet you're sitting on the same angle. You're seeing, but I just don't see what you see. And the other person's going, well, why don't you see what I see? And there it is. It's lack of empathy. It's lack of recognizing that we as human beings, we can see the same accident. We can see this. We can see the same facts. We can see the same event and interpret it from different perspectives. Why? Because we all come into everything with biases, with history, with emotions, with some type of hurt or pain, or it associates something else, or different perspectives on the topic. So we can look at the same topic and view it from two different angles, but it's even more complex than that. We can actually be standing on the same side, like both of us looking at a brick wall, and I see the cigar, and the person next to me does not see the cigar. So where is the cigar? The cigar is right there. Okay. And then everybody goes, there's the cigar. There's the cigar. Yeah, now you see what I'm seeing. Okay. And so empathy is the ability not necessarily to see the cigar. Okay. That's the key. We have to, emotional intelligence does not say that I have to see the cigar. Emotional intelligence does not mean that I have to see that you see a 9 and I see a 6. Emotional intelligence also doesn't say or doesn't teach that I have to agree with you that it is a 9 or that there is a cigar. Emotional intelligence is recognizing that you see a cigar and I don't see a cigar, that you see a 6 and I don't see a 6. So let me see. What you're saying is that there's a cigar right there. I don't see it, but I hear you. I'm listening. Okay. I'm being empathetic to the fact that you have a different perspective on this, and that I am going to withhold my judgment. I'm going to withhold my opinion. I'm going to withhold my disagreement, and I'm going to acknowledge the fact that, yeah, I understand why you want to do that. Hey, everybody, great job making it through this. Go to the next module. If you have any questions, any problems, do not hesitate to contact me, contact one of the other coaches. Let's get moving to the next levels. Good luck. And again, thank you for joining the program. Honored to help you.